what everybody will see also up on the board, you can see what people will see at home. Which is they see a panorama of the entire room the whole time. And then whoever's speaking, since I'm speaking right now, it'll zoom in on me. And Rusty, if you start speaking, go for it. It'll zoom in on you.
We have a similar device in our office.
Right, Regional School District 13 Board of Education meeting, regular meeting, Building Committee, September 17th, 2025, 5 p.m. If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're gonna go around, prior to approval agenda and just have all of the attendees identify themselves and their, affiliation. Parents,
Okay, Darren Overton, Building Committee.
Howard Weisberg, Chair, Building Committee.
John G. Mateo, Building Committee. Jamie Rohrbeck, Board of Ed member.
Lindsay Dahlheimer, Board of Ed. Sydney Leggett, Superintendent.
Bob Moore, Board of Ed.
Lucy Petrola, Board of Ed.
Kim Newman, Director of Finance.
Eric Proy, Facilities.
John Cross, Building Committee.
Rusty Malik, QAM.
Mark Savensky, ONG Industries. Dan Hetzler, ONG Industries.
Okay, great. Everybody has a copy of the agenda. I'd like a motion, to approve the agenda. Second. Okay, any debate? Discussion, we have a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, agenda passes. Open this up, item 3 for public comment. There are no members of the public other than ONG here.
No online, nobody online.
Anybody, nobody online? Great. So, we will close public comment. If I can have, we'll go with item 4, approval of minutes, August 20th, 2025 and August 26th, 2025. Can I have a motion?
So move, Lindsay.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Bob.
Okay, any discussion? For approval of the agenda, August 2025, August 26th, 2025. Okay, can we put this to a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, did we introduce,
Greg Putnam is on the phone.
yes, Greg, do you want to introduce yourself on the phone?
Greg Putnam, Building Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5, memorial renovation expansion. I'll start it off with Kim, if you want to just give a intro as to where we are with it, or?
So we are going to be having an update from ONG Industries as to the status of the project, as well as QAM. Rusty Malik, if tonight we have some plans to look at, and then we will approve some payment invoices. So I don't, Mark and Dan, you want to start first?
Dan, you want to go first? Oh, Rusty. I'm gonna bring a chair.
Table's full.
Maybe
Maybe it makes me quicker. Okay, so yes, this month on the construction side of the equation, or I should say progress through August, primarily at Lyman School. But I'll begin with a couple of things that we finished up at Ward Strong, and that was the HVAC balancing and communication between the thermostat and the building management system. We do have the 2 punch list items. There's some caulking missing in 2 locations, and the divider curtain, which now has been decided it's going to need to move forward. I have to get more personally involved in what the issues are. I wasn't involved in the initial meeting, and so I'm a little taken aback as to why that can't get installed as planned, but recognize that once we do vet that out with the manufacturer came out, they took a look at the situation, they identified a couple of concerns. I don't really gather, I'm not 100% on what those concerns are. It had to do with the alignment and potentially a backstop conflict. And then where the gathered product or the gathered curtain would align at the wall line. Could have been the curve of the buttress that would hold that too far away from the wall. Again, I have to now get involved in that. the part I want you to recognize is it is a long lead item. It's probably, from the time we get the shop drawing approval, it could be 7 to 8 weeks before that product is actually fabricated in here. At the Lyman School is where we put our effort in the month of August. A lot of work to be done. All the work necessary to put the kids in the building happened, as you are all aware. I list those items here, all the way through to testing the fire alarm, PA system. Last and certainly not least is we were able to get the certificate of completion on September 2nd. Followed by a punch list walk with Carson and they developed 27 item punch list for the Lyman School renovations. 7 of those items are signage. The signage was ordered, but hasn't come in yet. We're looking in another couple of days, actually, it's gonna be here. So there's 21 items, and of the 21, 13 are remaining as of this time. So I have the 3 items at Ward Strong and the 13 items at Lyman. I stopped by Lyman just about an hour and a half ago. I walked through the space and identified to the contractor exactly what we were gonna do. Our target is on 9/26 during the day off. We have the 2 most significant pieces of work left, which is to install heat trace on the piping that's below the units and to do some landscape touch-up, I'll call it. We were able to get seed down, but in my opinion, I want to leave you with a product that is easier to manage, easier to maintain, and has a finishing touch on it. Other than that, the items are relatively small and should be wrapped up on or before that 9/26 date. And that's all I have as far as our progress and what we did on the instruction side of things.
Let me just ask questions. I followed up with Principal Ford at Lyman just to see how everything is going. We worked with them on traffic. We worked on them obviously with the portables. Response was very positive. I didn't know if anybody else had gotten feedback from staff or faculty or parents on Lyman specifically.
Not to me, only the kudos that we got after we pulled it off, which I appreciated. It was an effort to clean up and get out of the way in time.
Right, and traffic operations is at Lyman is
Yeah, it's always been pretty solid. I think they adjusted nicely, did new striping over there, trimmed some branches, cleaned it up. I think it's working out well there.
great.
It was conversely pick up and drop off at Strong with the added students. That's working well.
Yes,
That's worked out fine, yeah.
Adjusted
It was
times.
that first day that people weren't expecting the times to be different, I guess, because that's supposed to start earlier, right? No, it's smoothed out fine.
Great.
By Friday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday was the first day where it was a little longer. I was there actually timing it, it was about 18 minutes on Friday, that first day, which is still pretty good. And then by Friday, it was, Principal Kimball said it was almost like a ghost town, like, you wouldn't know that anything was happening. So people adjusted to when they're showing up for drop off. Kids are not coming in late, which was kind of a rumor that was going around. And we do still have people stopping, but that's because there's a traffic light. And there's also a left-hand turn into the parking lot, which I've been told has been the way that it's been every year with those 2 things.
Personally, my son missed the bus early in that first full week. And I dropped him off it was before 10 out, so like 7:48. I was the only car in the parking lot that was active. I had no problem making the left into and the right out of.
Yeah, I don't see any issues there.
Great.
That feedback I got was that drop off at the high school, there was so much less traffic on the road. But I don't have a child in Strong anymore, so just curious about that. That's great. Glad it's working out.
I think too, when there's stuff outside of the control of the district, whether it's traffic on Main Street, that maybe there's a parent square to tell parents not to let their kids out of the car on Main Street if it is backed up because there's a fender bender, that parents, it should be common sense, but I know it happened a few times. People were concerned that kids were getting out, but we should be letting them know that it's okay if they're a few minutes late. We want to make sure they're safe and they should be getting out in the parking lot.
I'm glad the first couple days are over and everything's normalized and everything's working. So no, I appreciate it. And construction is strong, all of the construction activity, the changes, everybody's happy as well.
Yeah, Kim and I went through everything right before school. I was amazed how good the old portables had been renovated and they look great. And last again.
Apparently, Thursday at Strong, I went and everything was beautiful, fresh paint and everything looks really good.
The lockers look like they've always been there.
Except they were new, they look new.
And
Fantastic. Well,
I think it's pretty amazing what happened this summer.
well, thank you so much
They
again.
did a
Yes,
great
nice
job.
job,
They did
Dan.
everything,
nice job.
nothing was, they picked everything up, like everything it was really
Mhm.
good experience.
You want to go over the invoice, I guess.
I think driving around the summer, I don't think I saw once where they were driving or running.
Yeah, we'll end
Or any of
that
this
stuff
house
and then we can go right
walking
into the.
this summer. They were running.
Yes, they did.
So what was circulated, I believe Kim sent out on Monday was the payment application number 2. I had identified or provided a summary page for that application just to give an update and make it easier to identify the items that were being billed out. Unfortunately, I don't have a hard copy with me, so I'm gonna have to work a little from memory. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
Oh,
That's cute. Yellow, you want the yellows?
You recognize, you recognize that we only have one trade contractor in this particular package. And so the first thing I did was summarize what their values are and what remains. You know, primary question that's often asked is how much money do we still have on that particular contractor? As I mentioned, the punch list is relatively small, but to answer that question, the progress billing for this month, that's the first line item, is $297,476. Their progress complete as through 8/31 was 87.1%. Remaining to bill is 105,000. So there's roughly between $25,000 and $30,000 worth of work left to complete, but we still have $100,000 for them to bill against at the end of September's progress. In addition to that 105,000, there's still 113,000 left in retainage. What was billed was project management superintendent time. They had some closeout, some shop drawing progress. They turned over all their attic stock. At the Ward School, they billed for flooring, thermostats and balancing I just mentioned, and progress on the punch list. At Lyman, we had a list of things that they finished: the flooring, the ceilings, the skirting, the installation of the portable classroom, the wooden walkways, connections to the portables, and then the concrete and hard pack screening sidewalks, and then a little bit on the punch list. In addition to the values that diversity has in this current billing, O&G has a portion of your bill, which is $45,317. That is our staffing cost for the month of August. Our percentage complete is slightly lower at 84.7%. We have staffing costs, my staff cost here to wrap up that project at $12,006 and retainage at $7,004. So that is just a general summary of progress number 2. We do sit in a comfortable position with diversity. I have been working on the couple of change orders that we have to close out the financial side of their work. And then next week, we're going to get together with Mobile Modular and figure out the best mechanism to which right now diversity has in their contract the lease cost. So they have the 24 months times 4,000 that's in their contract that they give back, as well as the cost to remove the trailer. All those funds come back to the district. And what's the best mechanism to do that? How do we want to see that money land back in whose bank account? Want to make sure that moves easily, smoothly, and in the best interest of your district. Does anyone have any specific questions on
Are they up to date with their paperwork or, you know, EEO, payrolls, all that stuff?
They are, yeah, the first, so their August is not 100% due yet. I noticed that the folders were, what we call uploaded.
Yeah.
So what we do is we put folders in our system that are empty, and then they put their documents in there, but they're current through July.
Okay.
And they've also submitted what is known as a set-aside plan.
Yep.
So for the CHRO portion, that's the part where they have to do good faith in order to engage small businesses. They submitted their plan roughly 30 days ago. So that'll be reviewed and
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I looked at the numbers. They look good to me. Frankly, I thought you were gonna bill a little more than that, but that's fine. We'll take it as it is. So I certainly do approve, what I saw.
thank you. Yep, we've kept the contractor in a position where he has remained interested in closing out rapidly. And that's part of what makes my life better is when we can keep their interest, wrap up the punch list, wrap up the paperwork required to close this out.
Anything else prior to putting a motion out? Can we get a motion?
Make a motion to approve payment of $340,409.32.
Okay, can I have a second?
Which application?
This is payment application number 2.
Second, Lindsay,
Okay,
motion by John.
so we have a second for payment of the application number 2 for $340,000, $340,409.32. Second, let's, any discussion on this? Any further discussion? Okay, can,
Thank you all for your hard work.
yeah,
I
can we
know it's
put
been a
this to
lot.
vote? All in favor? Any opposed? Great. Right, application, number 2 is approved. Okay. Oh, are there any opposed or abstentions?
I think you
Yeah,
did.
I think I did. I didn't say abstentions, okay. All right, good. Good, so application number 2 is approved, thank you.
I'll just give a brief pre-construction update and then I'll turn it over to Rusty to go through the document that we can think of the segue. So pre-construction activities, as you know, you guys approved the schematic design estimate. You know, I've worked with Kim a little bit on putting some numbers together for cash flow. Currently still updating the pre-construction schedule. I actually spent some time earlier this week with Rusty and his team. And the challenge is to give Rusty enough time to design this with, you know, good tight documents while still giving ONG enough time to bid it and actually get it built in the time that we're contracted to. So I think we're very close, but I think we still need probably a couple more discussions before I issue that.
How does that affect the timeline?
Well, the challenge is not, what we're trying to do is not let it affect the timeline.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't
While
sure.
still giving Rusty enough time and ONG enough time. Don't compress with construction where we're gonna be in a big rush. It's gonna cost you more money, but yet still give Rusty enough time to design. I think we've settled, we are gonna do an early bid package, which is gonna be demo and abatement, which was always the plan. That went away for a little while. I think we need to bring that back and get the demo and the abatement bid out relatively quickly. So we'll be going up to the state at least 2 times. So yeah, that's.
Question. I have to sign out, but I want to, do you think we need to, I just know electrical gear is still running. Do you need to buy anything besides demo and abatement? Do you need to do an early?
Yeah, Greg, this is John. Yeah, absolutely. I want to see a list of long lead items. We should, but I think more importantly, we should get a general briefing on what type of systems we're looking at, like a rooftop, that, just so we can have, one, a little input, and 2 is help identify those long lead items.
So
Right?
yeah, when I mentioned demo and abatement, what is our standard right now? And actually, Dan, you're doing it in another job right now, but yeah, gear is still anywhere 53 to 80 weeks to switch gear. Generators are still a long lead item. Everything else is pretty much the way things stand now is pretty normal, John. But the gear and generators are still extremely long lead item. So if we have to, we'll certainly put that out as a gear package with the demo and pavement.
Does that answer your question, Greg? You know,
Yeah, I mean, I was going through and I started looking at the DD documents, looking at the design, and that's why the gears are thing that jumped out to me, the gear, the generators, and the transfer switches.
Yeah, we've gotten decent at it. It's been the standard since it really started during COVID, the gear. So we've gotten pretty good at it.
Yeah, adding to the schedule, I mean, at this point, one of the key elements of the schedule is going to be the local approvals. Because we have to go to the state for the PCR. And now that we're going for not just the final phase 3, but for phase 2, which hopefully should be less complicated. The key there is we need an approval by the local officials. On the PCR document, it's called a 3030 form. We did that for the swing space. It was a little bit of a challenge. And so we've requested a meeting with them. You know, we were hoping to meet today. That didn't happen. I mean, tomorrow, but that couldn't happen. So we're hoping to meet on early next week. The reason it's important is I want to bring them on the same page as us, that what they're approving is not the permit. You know, which we emphasized even the last time. And so there's two things that we think should be done and which we typically would do. On the final set, we have a third-party review. There are firms that do that all the time. We would get a quote from them. And we factored that into the overall project. They usually get it done in a couple of weeks. And we can use that document with the state to get our approvals, but it still needs the local officials to sign off on that document. If we can do that, then it makes it a lot simpler because we would still then submit the full set of drawings to the local officials for the permit. And as long as they're willing to do that, which, you know, we should be okay. If they're not willing to do that and they want their full 30 days or they don't want to sign off on the PCR documents for the 30 days, then it creates a challenge because now we can't go to PCR without those sign-offs, so it delays the whole process by a month. So I'm hoping that having gone through it in the phase 1, that they understand that, and that phase 2 and 3 will be pretty standard, and that they understand, and we just go through this in a way that we're anticipating. We're still anticipating 2 weeks for that approval because the building committee, the board of ed, everybody else also has to approve it, but those are just meetings, scheduled meetings. You know, with them, it's getting and looking at the details of it, and we would certainly, as we did the last time, sit down with them and go through the documents and try to answer any questions that they have. But generally, a third-party reviewer will go through the entire set of drawings. They will issue a whole list of comments on the drawings that we have to respond to, and we will do that, and then they send a copy to the local officials. That way the local officials see all the comments and the responses to those comments. And then they all sign off after that happens. So that's a pretty important aspect of it. If we can get that worked out, then it certainly helps in the schedule as we move forward.
And
I think it helps them too. It's a gigantic project for a small, you know, planning and zoning commission to take on, and there's a lot of confusing aspects to it. So the more clarity we can give them ahead of time, even sending them minutes from meetings, inviting them to building committee, if we're not zooming them, they can sign on. We want them to feel part of the process, because coming to them 2 minutes, you know, what feels like to them is right before, you know, isn't a good feeling.
Right, this is more the building department too, though.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did have a discussion. We met Sydney and talking when we were initially talking about permit fees. And the purpose of paying the permit fees was to have an official dedicated sort of the 3 building projects that they have going on in Middlefield soon. And that's how we left that, but then we tried to get a meeting, just get everybody in the room so that we all understood that they would accept a third party, report. But we didn't talk about how many days, you know, they had to respond. Difficult to get everybody in the same room, so that fell through for tomorrow, but I will just stay on it and make sure we can.
So they have, Middlefield now has a full-time building official.
I think he's part-time,
Part-
but he's dedicated to the church, the safety complex and the school.
Who is that?
I don't have the name.
Okay.
I don't think they told me the name.
Off the table.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now it's part-time.
I was gonna ask what the third was.
That's what they told me, but it was a week
That
ago.
was only a week ago that
You'll
we met
group
with
me
them.
into that meeting.
Right. Just
Just
recently
this is
conquered.
fly on the wall, so I can get in front of them.
And we have all the dates that we, you know, we'll have those dates ironed out, so when we meet, we'll be able to present those dates so that they can maybe block out that time to let us, you know, to say, okay, yes, this is when you'll get the documents, and that's the time frame. You know, I mean, we don't mind sending them early sets, but they don't like receiving early sets, because it's paper that they're gonna say,
We don't need that.
you know, yeah, it's a lot of documentation that they don't wanna really look at till
I
it's.
just, I don't want them to feel rushed like we did, like we all felt rushed with phase one. We had to get it done in a certain amount of time, and I just think setting a good foot with them is important.
And I think we'll get appointment. You know, Pete Tick said Durham Fair Week, gonna be tough for him. So, you know, I think if we just get through that.
Yeah.
Cause he's important to be in that meeting as well.
So the PCR meeting, let's sign off on the construction documents, right?
Right.
And what's the schedule for the PCR tentatively?
So right now, the PCR for the final phase is, we haven't locked it in with the state, but our goal is around the 18th of December.
And what's the schedule for the local land use approvals of the current DD set?
So for the CD set would be,
The DD set.
we would be giving them that, or land use approval. I'm
Land use
sorry.
approvals for DD.
So we're submitting the full land use approval documents on the 19th. That's the day after tomorrow. It'll be review meeting will be October 24th. And then the follow-up meeting, we are anticipating on November 26th.
So that puts the start of demo and abatement when?
All right.
Right after that? Right after the November 26th? Okay.
So you plan for 2 planning and zoning meetings?
Yeah, the October 24th and the November 26th if necessary.
Has there been any indication of whether the town's gonna hire the usual town engineering consultant to review the plans?
Don't know that yet. And we're gonna have all the information to them again on Friday with all the information, and then obviously there'll be a lot of communication between them and Dinesh.
If there's questions you want us to ask specifically at the meeting, like that one, please let me know, cause I'll ask them.
October 24th is a Friday. They usually meet on Wednesday. Would be the 22nd. That you're looking at for P and Z?
Right.
It's the 22nd, okay.
Oh.
24th is a Friday.
24th is a Friday.
It's probably, the 24th we would manage, so whatever the October meeting is, that's the.
Yeah, October
Yeah.
22nd.
So we'll get that, Rusty and I'll get that schedule, we'll discuss it, and we'll make sure that it makes sense to keep this project on track. And then I'll get it out to you. So we'll discuss it next time we're here.
And sorry, but we'll include dates for building committee approval and board of ed approval as well. So we can all lock in on those dates and know that that's what we would anticipate.
Where do those fall in the sequencing?
So generally, we have to, the set that you approve is the 100% set, so our 100% deadline is December 5th.
Okay.
So anywhere between the 5th and the 18th is when we would schedule the meeting for building committee and board of ed. The estimate, actually, we're going to work with ONG, so they'll get an early jump on the estimate. So that I think somewhere really after the the tenth or so, they'll have the final version of the estimate. I think I was anticipating maybe the twelfth, but in that time frame, because you really want to also know that the estimate, the approval is drawings, plans, specifications, and estimate.
They have to go
So
to the
all of that
state
has
with
the
the
estimate. Yeah.
So, and obviously, you're gonna want to approve the estimate before the state.
Yeah.
You have to, part of the process. We did receive design development documents on Monday, as promised. Our estimators are working on them now. We believe we'll have, the estimates 3 weeks, October 6th. I think is the date that I have on the schedule due. Rusty, you are doing a check estimate at DD, correct?
Well, that's one of the things we want to talk about.
We like that. We encourage it. If, I think it's budgeted in the budget for it. It just gives a back and forth between two independent an independent estimator and then ONG. We like it. We would recommend it.
Yeah, I think we asked for that in the, part of the original package anyway. But more importantly, I think it would be before the December fifth date that we get some of us to maybe get together and do a reconciliation estimate review before we put that final number together.
We'll do the estimate. The independent will do the estimate. We get together, whether it's 1, 2 days, however long we need, John, anybody can be involved in that. And they literally go through the estimates line by line. We'll come up on things, they'll come down on things. It's a good process. Let me see, I'll cover everything here. And over to you, Rusty, if there's no questions.
No, and well, obviously, there are specific pieces that we have to go through, obviously. There's the traffic study, there's the drainage report, the drainage design, the septic report. There's a lot of components that we still have to nail down.
Yep.
The site plans. Getting there, it looks really good. Obviously, there are still discussion points to have. So I want to make sure that we kind of, make sure we hit each of these little areas specifically, so that we do get the best product. Like I said, it's coming together. I think there's still some good discussion points to have, and I had met with the traffic engineers, and I know they're getting back with Ganesh, and they're updating the traffic report as well. So we needed some more operational discussion in there, not just capacity and crash data. We want to look at safety potential. We want to look at operational issues, and so they're going to be modifying that report.
So we're supposed to get the modified report tomorrow,
Okay.
so that we can print it and make it part of the package that goes to P and Z.
Okay.
There's no other questions for me.
No,
Rusty
okay.
has the
Thank you.
tough part
Thank
right
you.
now. I think you start.
And actually going back to substantial completion, we did issue a substantial completion letter. We plugged in a date for the contract, and we had Sydney as the signatory on it. It varies. Some communities, the chair of the building committee is the signatory. This is a regional district, so we can change it. So whatever is your pleasure, I just want to make sure that whatever we have down is correct, so we can finalize it.
I defer to. Sydney on this one.
Well, it's usually the superintendent or the board chair that signs all contracts.
Right. Then in that case, it's you.
Okay.
First. And of course, that's important because it triggers all the warranties, et cetera, that you probably all know about. I mean, all our warranties start from the date of substantial completion. So that's on there. To give an overview, so we finished our 100% DD set, as Sid mentioned. We sent the 100% set to ONG for pricing. There's always items that are.
I'm sorry, Rusty, if I can interrupt just on that topic of substantial completion. So we are referring to the swing space work, not the building. We haven't built the building for it yet.
I'm sorry, you're right. I should have.
Space.
But it's way in the budget.
Yeah, so
For phase
I
one.
got a $27,000 punch list on that.
What's taking
So
so
that
long?
does also trigger the request for retainage reduction. So I didn't mention it earlier, in the next month's progress billing, we will look to reduce the contractor's held retainage. That can either be down to the value of the punch list, which is only 27 grand, or reduced in half, which leaves more money. That's always my preference. It's kind of an industry standard that we go with a 2.5% reduction instead of a full release. And it's really just more of a notification to y'all that'll be something I'm proposing for next month. If anybody has a concern, I should hear about it early, because we have to, when we do our paperwork, we have to know what we're doing. Thank you.
So, the DD set, and I brought a hard copy of it, this is a half size set, so that you can appreciate what's in here, and I'm not gonna go through all the pages in here.
296 pages.
There's 2 volumes of specs, I only brought the 1 volume, this is enough detail for them to get a good DD estimate on, and because when we finish with CDs, there'll be 15 more pages to this document, a lot more detail to it. That'll be fleshed out in the overall set of drawings. And we use these for our mock-ups and coordination as we're going through this, just to understand that actually our drawings are all in a model. So it's a 3-dimensional model, so that our coordination occurs virtually with that as well. But for people like me, who, sometimes are challenged getting into these models and doing all this stuff, I like the hard copy paper to be able to look at all this. We are scheduling meetings to do the faculty and staff and administrative review of all of the spaces. So one of the things we're doing at this point, we've got the 2D set, but this is not what we like to meet with them with. We're creating 3D models of every one of the spaces in terms of finishes and furniture layouts and so on. And that will be part of the presentation to them, which then, once everybody has gone through it, we've got the feedback, we will update those models and then present it also to the full Board of Ed and Building Committee. So you have a complete picture. It'll be, and again, 3D renderings of every one of the space. So it's the important space. We're not doing every classroom. We're doing typical classrooms, let's say a pre-K, a 2nd, 3rd grade, and a 4th and 5th, one of those art room, cafeteria, so all of these spaces, exterior views, etc. So that should all happen, and I'm hoping to be able to present that to the committee at the next meeting. And if we're done sooner and you are able to get a meeting sooner, we can certainly present it sooner, or we can send it via email to everybody. So at least you've got the images, and we can put a narrative to that as well.
Rusty, do you think by the October 8th, there's the next board meeting? We could do a joint building committee board and you can all see it at the same time? Is that too soon?
No, I actually would prefer that, because our time, if we make changes, and somebody says, well, we want to make, we can't make some, the floor plans were signed off on, we can't take those, and unless something's really critical, we'll do whatever it takes, but generally, we're going to talk about finishes and space and how it's organized, and there are minor modifications that could occur, and we would do that. So I think the earlier the better, because our deadline is December 5th, which is not too far from now. And it's basically about 2.5
Maybe a
hours.
Do you know how long?
special meeting?
Yeah, I was thinking, would an hour be enough?
I think that would be it.
So we could do the combined meeting 5 to 6, and then the board meeting starts at 6.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Work session before.
At the next meeting, I also want to have the engineers here to talk in detail about all the building systems, so that, right now, for instance, propane boilers, we've been looking at all that. I know I already asked the question about what would we have saved if the geothermal had gone in. We need to do an analysis in all the billings from all 3 schools, so that's something we haven't updated at this point. It became a lower priority because getting the DD set was a higher priority. But I do not want to go over all that with the committee, especially, you know, if you understand exactly what we're talking about on the systems that are going into the building. And as was mentioned, you know, OMG will have the estimate in 2 weeks, and we will. We need to have a discussion also on the solar lease, because when we move forward, right, there'll be a downtime on the solar. So that is an issue that we need to resolve, the way the lease is set up. So that's something that we would be put to the forefront, just so that we're, you know, we're aware of it and the system won't be operational during construction. And I already talked about the meeting with the local officials, so that pretty much covers everything that I want to report, and if any questions, we respond.
Yeah, from my perspective, obviously, you know, I trust, you know, you're working with faculty and staff and Eric to get the building systems done. Obviously, from us, you know, from my perspective and my expertise, it's site plan. It's traffic patterns, it's site plan, it's the drainage pattern. And, you know, can you speak to that at all and where we are and,
So again, the report on the traffic, you know, after the consultant had a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Should be finalized tomorrow.
Great.
I haven't seen that updated report, and they go to them tomorrow, they'll print it and then send it out to everybody.
Perfect.
And I'll get a copy out to you as well. On the wells and the septic, there was the initial investigation was done, the report is been created. I know, Darren, you were interested in that report as well as because we're going down the state system. It's not a deep system, so that's been agreed upon. They've done some testing. We have to now go through the next phase of design and testing on that. I don't have the schedule for it, but they know our deadline is in terms of getting that work done for approvals. And that same is true for the wells, that they need to do some additional testing on the wells because there's some indication that they may want concurrent calculations for hydraulics on the wells for both the sprinkler and the wells at the same time. I believe they did them separately initially. So that's going to be part of this next phase as well. I was trying to get the civil engineer here today. I was unable to do so, but he will definitely also be here at the next meeting. Because one will be much further along, and I'll have him, you know, report to it, so you can ask him the more technical questions and you can get an answer that.
Happening before the 8th,
I'm sorry?
that happened shortly.
We would have to have a special meeting.
Special meeting, and I
What
don't,
if
you know,
it's
even
just like
if
2 or 3
it's,
people?
even if it's an online meeting, and if you feel comfortable with that, then we have the engineer.
Well, I always wait traffic on wastewater, so
So,
there
okay,
too. So we like to
What do
take a
you
look
do?
at that.
Special meeting work, or, because we're gonna talk about that later on the agenda, how we're gonna be going forward, how
Yeah.
often? Is that an in-person thing?
Well, probably just looking at the set of plans, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could almost, you know. I don't know if we, you know, if we need to have a meeting on it, can they
Yeah.
just meet with members of our committee that are skilled in that area without it being a meeting?
that'd be fine.
Yeah, as long as it's not a quorum, yeah.
See what you need.
Yeah,
Just get us the report to Holly and Darren, and then we can.
then you
take a
guys,
look at
yeah,
it.
you guys can work with them. There's no reason to get everybody on board to
Oh.
discuss,
So is it no more than 4?
No, just the 4.
No more than
More
4.
than 4,
Okay,
We're good with 4?
huh?
We're good with 4? No more than 4.
great.
Okay. Is the drainage report gonna be available on Friday?
I believe so. Because everything that's due for planning and zoning would be in that package.
Are they gonna propose, obviously, you know, with stormwater management? You can scale that to whatever expense you wanna spend, and I'd like to know if there's an alternatives analysis that they're proposing. for different options so that, you know, we're not just stuck with it, take it or leave it. And if we decide to leave it, it sets them back. I'd really like to see a couple of different options. And I know ONG has probably done, you know, hundreds of different types. And, you know, obviously we want to get your opinion on, you know, obviously lowest initial cost and lowest long-term costs and lowest maintenance and, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. We need to maybe see that before they get too far along. Because we've seen some really bizarre.
yes.
And
We
actually,
don't want that.
the time is great, is, I mean, so the way we set up our proposal from them is they were sending us, when we were responding to proposals, they sent me a proposal of 500,000 for a full deep system, and I said, how do we know we're doing a deep system? How can we, so what we did is we included all the service for the initial testing and reports. And then that would inform what work needed to be done. So I just received from them the fee for what work needs to be done to complete all this now.
Okay.
So I was gonna be, I'm putting a document together to present to the committee on that.
Okay.
That will also include, as a proposal from us, because you put the hazmat into R4. So, and we went over the hazmat proposals and we selected Benoni on that. So I've got a few items that are going to be a part of that, and that item that'll come to you at the next meeting.
Great.
Actually, before the next meeting, to review.
And like I said, these things can be broken up into small discussions with key members of the building committee. But yeah, I definitely want to, you know, where they're placing the stormwater management is going to be important. The type that they're doing, the level of, you know, the level of inspection that Eric's going to have to continue to do. I mean, these are all big things that we want to, we want to avoid anything that's going to be a long-term issue. But at the same time, we don't really want, you know, giant concrete storage chambers either. So, great. As far as the rest of the site plan, do you recall, and I meant to look at it, do you recall what we're getting for stacking? For the bus loop and the parent loop? Because I know we had double stacking as an option in there, and I forgot to run the numbers, I just don't remember if it was in there.
It was, when we changed the layout, we actually ended up getting a lot more stacking.
Good.
And I want to say it was like 50 or 60 cars.
What I may want to, we just may want to model around the corner to make sure that double stacking can continue all the way up. It does look like they widened out the driveway another 12 feet. So you can get double stacking in there and still have vehicles. So that's really good. The only question I have in terms of circulation, parent drop off, there's going to be parent drop off for the pre-K area too, right?
Yes.
Okay, do we want to widen that out so that we can ensure safe access up through that loop as well? I don't know what type of, because they're gonna be in a separate queue entirely.
They're also at a different time.
Okay.
Times.
Yeah, so they're not all going to be doing the drop off at the same time. So, which will really help with that back.
So there's a staggered drop off.
There is for pre-K. So pre-K is always going to
But
be.
they have
first time.
But they have a
separate.
yeah, they have a separate driveway
Yes,
anyway.
yeah.
I guess the concern is if parents are waiting,
Mhm.
waiting in a queue to pick up their kids. It's only wide enough it's like, I think 24 feet wide, so it's not wide enough for them to sit in a queue and allow traffic to go around. So we may want to look at widening in some area or just showing the parent queue on the plan.
Well, what we did, and I'm sure you have a loop around at the end, right?
Yep.
So a lot of times when we did these is we put the concrete mat, the concrete, we widen it with the concrete fillers.
Okay,
So somebody can drive around, but typically the pre-K, the kids are being brought out to the individual car. So it's,
One after the other.
Right.
yeah, so to be honest with you, you shouldn't have any other traffic going around that area doing anything except for maybe Eric's crew or something like that. So you should have very little.
okay.
The width of the driveway at the circular drive and drop off area is 28 feet.
Okay, how wide is the access road up?
It's It's 24,
Okay,
all the way through.
okay,
And it actually widens up a little bit when you get close to the service area, but that's more to accommodate for
Okay.
the student.
yeah, I just didn't know if, you know, how the parent drop off and pick up queue is gonna work at that area. I just wanna make sure that we don't block it up.
Kim, do we have data on, from either the enrollment study or just general knowledge of typical pickup and drop off? Of the breakdown of how many students in the school will be taking the bus versus being picked up?
I could see if there's sort of a trend out there or statistic that typically not an enrollment study, but there's probably some sort of norm we can.
Yeah, we can find out, because there's usually like just transportation survey that their principals have, you know, because we know how every kid gets home, right?
And pre-K is smaller, right?
Yes, there's only 2 pre-K classrooms.
I was gonna say, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we do not transport pre-K, so they're all gonna, most of them are going to be parent pickup.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
concerned about pre-K because that has
Yeah.
a separate loop.
Mhm.
I'm more concerned about the rest of the school and understanding a comparison of how many students we believe are gonna be picked up versus the stacking, et cetera.
We can look at,
Available.
I just, you know, this year will be different, right? Because the strong and memorial numbers won't be what they, or the strong and Lyman numbers won't be
The usual.
what they are usually, because of people are making different decisions right now, I think. So, you know, we can try and do some projections based on the last few years' history of how many people were walkers, bus riders, and pickups.
So Datco has to provide transportation for every student, right? Like, we have to provide transportation for every student.
If they want it.
Yeah, we offer an opt-out that can be changed at any time, and we ask when some parents do say we will not be taking the transportation, but a lot of parents don't wanna do that because they feel like it's final.
But Datco knows that there's potentially 30 kids taking this bus, and they may have a handle of how many kids are actually, average kids are on the bus every day. That kind of, I don't know if they do that or not, but you know, what I'm saying that might give us the information we
I
know.
think it's more of a school level thing more than DACO. I don't think that they really. I mean, they say, yeah, my bus is pretty full every single day. That'll help us, but.
Yeah, or half the time I'm empty or something, yeah.
Yep, that'll help.
Are we staggering both
20%.
pickup and drop off?
I'm sorry,
Are we staggering both pickup and drop off?
we are at I'm trying to think of each
For the
different school
future
right now.
renovated memorial?
Oh, there is a staggered approach, but I'm not completely up to speed on exactly what that is, just to be honest, so I don't know if somebody else can speak to that yet.
It's only the pre-K to be staggered. Because K through 5 is gonna be riding the bus.
Same.
We're not running double buses to pick up kindergarten from the other elementaries.
Right.
Right.
So,
It's just
yeah, or so are
pre-K
you
to
talking
11,
about,
that's different.
you're just talking about the K through 5?
Yes.
Okay, then no, there wouldn't be a staggered.
Okay, so they're all together. I just love to see that projection of what that number is for the pickup and drop off, just to better understand the stacking and parking that's available. I think what we have is adequate, but absent that number, just,
Yeah, and I'll just caution again, it's all gonna change because people are gonna be coming from different towns to a new school and in a town where they might not be going to school, so people's transportation choices will always change.
I did see that they added the supplemental parking. Future parking closer to the access point, which is great, so.
That would be identified in alternate.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah, like I said, my biggest concern was how that bus loop is gonna be utilized, how parents are gonna engage, and Kim, we may want to just take a more in-depth look at it and make sure that, like I said, I think it may need to be widened depending on what our queuing is. If they park, we do have to work on making sure that there is a safe travel path from, you know, where they're getting dropped off to the parking area. But yeah, the parking lot is designed really well for, you know, if the queue is big, it's real easy to go in and park, and it's real easy to go out and access, so. I think it is a solid design. I just want to make sure that we address some of the other little items.
And you do still have the option of double stack, you know, the parking even for the parents.
Mhm.
What it does take away is the space to go around the cars, and it makes that more challenging.
Right. The the hard courts. Obviously, if you're out of Memorial ever, the pickleball is used constantly nonstop. I think not striping it, I think not including it is gonna be a challenge. I know there's questions about reimbursement, but we are moving those courts to make this project work. I would think that it would make sense that we should be able to get reimbursed for putting what's there back in a different location, so.
And actually, I was looking into that further because I was looking at another project and they had pickleball courts on there. And they said, well, we justified it that it's of our educational program.
Okay.
So we just have to come up and say, yes, it's part of the educational program, and then it just, it doesn't really matter.
I just think it would be, the portable stuff doesn't work, it breaks. I think it has, and like I said, it's in the interest of making the project work and be accepted, I think we have to put back, what's there to an extent.
Yeah, I'd like to personally communicate back to that community that's using the facilities now. Mark, I could use your help on that as far as the schedule of what the downtime is from demo of the existing courts to the restoration of the new courts. Just so we can relay that message and they can understand it. And basically look for other facilities during that downtime.
It would be awesome, not saying it can happen, but it would be awesome if the new hard court surface was available before the old one was demolished.
Well, Mark's got a lot of logistics to deal with.
But,
so-
Documents.
yeah,
I'll send you the pickleball court documents first.
absolutely.
What does that take away budget-wise from the project? Is doing that taking away money from inside the building? Like that's,
It's just a matter of construction sequencing, but.
no, I meant the striping it and making it consider, because originally we were gonna make it a hard court, so it was reimbursable space, correct?
So there's still, it's still a hard court.
Yeah.
Just it's striped. So there were some areas we didn't stripe, so we would stripe it. So the cost of striping is not.
Just the striping.
Since they're already
I didn't know if that
striping, yeah.
completely like wiped the reimbursement on the hard court, so I didn't know if that
Oh,
had any,
no.
okay.
No, we'll, as long as we can present it, that it's part of the educational program. And it was at another elementary school, in fact, in Farmington, where there was pickleball courts. And I said,
And I think it was the intention when the courts went in, I don't know if it happened
And they'll have
at
to forever.
at the Memorial. but
Take it out of there.
They have.
Great, yeah. And obviously, depending on where the sewer and water stuff look, any additional hard court space that you can provide, every 30 feet of width is another 2 courts. So, any additional space out there, I think would be well utilized, so.
And I'll also communicating not just for that pickleball community, but Flag and Shock Soccer needs to understand, timelines for when those fields will be ready. Even if it's a hard answer for them to take, they can plan, they just want the time to plan. And so the more we can communicate to those stakeholders, no different than the neighbors, it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark and Rusty, I know you don't necessarily consider value engineering items really until you have some numbers to work from and understand where you're at with the budget, but. Some of the things, like I see, we have underground detention that's typically expensive. I'd love to see your thoughts, Mark, on there is a product that's specified on the plans. Whether, based on your experience in construction, are there products that are less expensive, that are more easily construct, that are easily to maintain going forward? You guys have a lot of experience in that. I'd love to see some considerations in your estimates as to whether there are some value engineering options for things like that, because I guarantee nobody here is gonna be focused on sticking their head and looking at the underground detention, or anybody that uses that facility is really gonna care what's underground. It's all about what's in the school, and we'd like to put money in the school.
We have a couple of key estimators in the site work division that can help us with that.
That would be great. Awesome.
We're always looking for feedback. So if there's some product that you guys think that might help us.
They know the market better than any designer.
Yeah, no.
Adding on to that a little, low impact development, any opportunities for taking some of the green spaces in the islands? I know we've cleared out some of the great thing is the plan preserves a significant amount of site trees, the trees along the front, the trees along, the aisles, they're all remaining. And, I don't know if you could put a price on, 70, 80-year-old mature trees. So that's great, but also removed a lot of potential maintenance issues. If we can do anything for, some, DCIA type discharge, direct connection, impervious area elimination, it'd be great. More, you know, more using the ground to soak it up, as long as it doesn't create, you know, long-term maintenance issues for Eric.
Yeah, we were looking at that at the canopies at the bus drop off,
Rain gardens,
the
things,
rain garden.
rain gardens, anything like that we can use to help reduce, the size and scope of the stormwater management, yeah, would be
I
great.
mean, so the savings there is you're not connecting it underground to the stormwater system. The caution that I have is it's at the front, and in the winter, if it's not maintained, it freezes up and then it ices over the walkways there. And so I shy away from it. That's the only reason, but whatever else we can, we're gonna create.
Fantastic, that'd be great.
That's Buffer Island.
Yeah.
On the west side
Yes, the big buffer island.
is now a base on the plan.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Just a recommendation, at the last project at my former school, we had 3 rain gardens on the project on the site, and the, like the final landscape dug the, you know, the gradations that were needed. But then the kids came in and they did the rest. So like that became a curriculum project that went on for like the next year and a half.
Yeah, that would be
So if we could
that's
think about something
fantastic, yeah.
doing like that.
And it was in New Hampshire, so it's
Look at
cold.
that, I mean, you just have to understand that it takes time to develop that in time.
Yeah.
So certainly we'll work with you in developing those sort of ideas.
Yeah, it was like a 1.5 to 2 year curriculum project, so it went grade to grade, like grades would pass it on to the next grade for the next step.
So anything that we can do on it, obviously would be great. Awesome. Anything else?
Oh, I should mention, so one of the things we did discover, is that on a seismic perspective, you have 3 different areas of construction, and at the Capitorium area, because of the way the code is, we're gonna have to do some additional bracing in there for seismic. You know, we were trying to keep it as much as, you know, keep the existing structure, but it's such a hodgepodge, and that's because there were 2 different construction areas coming together, and we need firewalls, we need, that's something else that we're dealing with at this point.
Howie, before I forget to, since we're now gonna have an enclosed courtyard too, I wanna make sure Eric's comfortable in theirs from a maintenance standpoint, you know, the right type of shrubberies or wherever in there, because there's really no way to get equipment in and out of there easily. And we don't want, pests in there or other things. So I think we need to pay, if we're gonna close it all the way in there, we really have to make sure that we can maintain that space, properly. A lot of times, if we get, or if there's any trees in there, but we should look at that a little closer and make sure we can
Good idea.
maintain that.
So our direction to the landscape architect was to do a lot of ground cover, so you don't have to mow, very little mowing, and the challenge becomes if you leave too much open space, then your egress capacity just balloons. That means you've got to take all these supposed people, even though you may never have those people in there, you still have to calculate the occupant load based on that. So we are designing it so that that occupant load will stay small, more like, you know, 2-3 classrooms will.
Yeah, I would think that person should talk to Eric directly about any of his concerns from maintenance.
Just having an enclosed courtyard from a maintenance perspective, getting in and out of there with, you know, any kind of leaves or any kind of landscaping, mowers, trimmers, we don't have a way in from the outside. You're pretty much bringing stuff through the school.
We're trying to align and there's no way, unfortunately, around that at this point.
Yeah.
We've got some direct paths, so we can go through more easily.
Hey, anything else on memorial renovation expansion?
I have a few invoices to approve.
Okay,
One thing, Rusty, do you need approval or is it already in your contract to get, third party DD?
We have a third party estimate on.
Okay, thank you.
Are you gonna leave those plans here
I can.
or like So-
Yeah, I also sent them electronically.
Yeah, but
if
it's hard to
someone-
look
yeah,
at 'em.
you could take it home.
I don't wanna take it home, I'll come out and get it there.
Back to truck.
You may want a full-size set, cause these are hard to look at.
I'm not looking at all the detail either.
I mean, guys at the office look at them, but I have a hard time.
Yeah.
It's really small. Probably.
So magnifying.
You have two invoices, Kim?
I have a couple, so I actually have quite a, 5 or 6. What I'll do is I'll mention them, make a motion, and then I'll list them, and then someone can say so moved, second, that'll go quicker, okay, instead of saying everyone. So I've got Two Brothers Moving, for additional moving services, $1,919.50. I have K&G Tree Services, for tree pruning and debris removal. That was for Lyman School. That is $2,160. I have QA&M, again, design development, construction documents, bidding services, construction admin for $220,916.30. I have Bizzuto's Brothers Services for dumpster at John Lyman for $550. The Cube Smart for rental of storage units in Middletown, $240.50. Moffett Line Striping for striping at both Lyman and Strong, $3,960. And another Two Brother Moving. 15,000, sorry, I'm just trying to say, another Two Brothers Moving for $15,440. We did have them come about 3 times to move instructional supplies and then furniture and stuff like that, so a couple different moves. So anybody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 7 invoices that Kim just discussed.
John Shield, second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion for all of the invoices as discussed in the motion and seconded, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Abstentions?
Just note that Greg Putnam isn't here.
Gone.
Oh, Greg Putnam is left, okay. Motions pass. Okay, anything else on Memorial? Okay. Item 6, thank you, everybody.
8.
Six.
Oh, no, 6.
Six.
Oh, there, there.
Vote to approve payment of track invoice.
Yep, I have an invoice here from Field Turf. The total completed track, the final invoice, $293,631. Sorry, $293,631.
It's like that was. I make a motion to approve Field Turf in the amount of $293,631.
Second. Second,
John G, second.
okay, $292,631. Any discussion?
Everything looks good, Kim?
This is,
Final, no retainage, that's it.
That's the final.
That's it.
okay. Any concerns?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, all in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, motion passes.
Thanks.
Rusty, you're not staying for the second session?
I stay.
Yeah, do you want to, or?
No, certainly I can give my 2 cents if you want.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
3 or 4.
On the track, since we have the track item open, any other concerns with the track?
Oh, it looks great. No birds attracted to it.
The only issue I've heard is they're still awaiting the track
The
pad.
maps, yeah, they're on back order. So,
They're on back order?
Yeah, we actually wound up going to a different vendor
Okay,
to
great,
get them faster.
excellent.
Those are the ones that the bench warmers approved.
Yeah.
Mhm, that's great.
Fantastic, but yeah, I spoke to the track coaches and they seem very, very happy. Has the public's been using it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I had a question the other day and I sent it to Kim, not concern, but a question about when the track is open for the public. So can they use it during school hours? Can they use it on days that school isn't in session, but it's a weekday? So I think getting that information out isn't
So
important.
I can tell you that general best practice is that the community does not use the track during school hours. Because it's on school grounds and sometimes PE classes go out there and, there are a bunch of other reasons why some people from school and kids are out walking the track. So it is usually off limits during operating hours
So it's opened it's opened at the end of the day? Like, is that when?
or before.
Is there- is
People
there a
want to walk
sign
in the
out there
morning.
now? Yeah, you probably should.
It's important, yeah.
We can put a sign up.
Yeah.
Track is closed to the public during school.
School hours.
That just avoids all.
And I think the question on that kind of, made sense was, all right, well, it's during school hours, we have classes in there, but after hours, we have sports on the field. So we still have student athletes there. I don't know, that was the
Yeah.
concern, but I think it's important we communicate it, that there's signage and
Well, if
It's
there's
unlocked, but
track
it's-
practice going on, they can't be walking on the track.
Yeah.
If they're actively engaged in
Two
track.
hours in school, please.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
school
don't coaches
activity.
have the ability to put up a sign and say closed practice?
I don't know. And if I don't know it, I think that's not, then the community doesn't know it.
Yeah,
So I think
that may be a
it's
good
important.
idea though, yeah.
I mean, I don't think that happens very often. I'm very.
I just don't want, I just don't want them to
Yeah,
try and do track practice and then have a couple of people decide they want to walk four abreast and just,
Right.
it's open to the.
Yeah, I think you just.
They used to
sign,
walk
post a
during
sign.
games, so yeah, they stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's more, I think it's more and more because something we all should be really proud of, the facility is phenomenal. So you've got people from, if they're not able to use Xavier's turf or their track, they're driving over if they live close by, and I think we'll find more and more, if we don't have a policy in place and
Good point.
signage,
Are there
just causes
currently,
discontent.
are some people currently walking the track during the day? Is that kind of a regular thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
teachers
a
too.
lot.
might be.
We have like teachers on their break,
That's fine.
I
Their
walked
staff.
it during the day when it's been open, and I didn't know it wasn't until someone had told me the other day it was locked, so. I'm not opposed to any of it, I think what's important is you guys come up with what is safe and appropriate.
Mhm.
And I think that we'll all agree with that, I just think it needs to be consistent and put out there.
Maybe words like school hours and
And
anytime
school
during school
activities.
School
activities.
hours and activities.
Yeah.
Similarly, would it make sense to, open it up, especially as it's gonna start to get dark? Maybe have some nighttime walking hours for the public
Like on
where,
a Saturday,
where the lights are on and,
and that
yeah.
might really help if people can't use it during the day.
yeah,
they
we
say-
can publicize as, the track will be open at night for nighttime walking on, nighttime track use on these dates or something like that.
And then just like lights on. Schedule it to be on.
And then they turn off,
Yep.
and we let them know when they're turning on and off,
That would be great.
especially since that can be done remotely, right?
Well, I would set a schedule, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all like.
Because we want to encourage the public to use
Program.
the facilities that they pay for, but mostly we're not looking at grants, but we want them to be able to use it at some times, we just need to be clear on when that is. That's all.
Did we ever find out what it was, what the cost was for, the lighting on the tracks?
I have not done that. I will look that up and see. We didn't have, we had a first couple of bills, so I'll look that up.
But they're not astronomical or raising any eyebrows or anything?
They didn't to me.
Okay.
You mean the operating cost?
Just in terms of keeping the lights on, Cause then we were looking at if somebody wanted to, if a third party wanted to use the field at night. what it
We have a
was.
process for that.
Yeah.
Great. All right, anything else on the track or anything before, we go into, executive session?
Yep, no, nothing more.
Okay.
So I have the motion, if you have it,
Yeah, I have the motion. You want me to make it?
somebody, yeah, we've got it to read.
You want to read it on me?
Yeah, so we're gonna move that the building committee enter into executive session to discuss the RFP responses. 2025-005 commissioning agent and 2025-006 owners project manager. The building committee invites the following individuals: into executive session to participate in some or all of the discussions. Kim Newbig, Eric Proya, Sydney Leggett, Rusty Malik, and Carson Collier of QAM.
Carson's not here.
Yep.
I should roll call in.
Yep.
I would, okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Do
opposed?
you want to do a roll call on it?
It should, yeah, I would roll call in.
So roll call into executive session.
We just name and I.
Darren Overton, aye.
Howard Weisberg, aye.
John G. Mateo, aye.
I'm not a member.
Lindsay Dahlheimer, aye.
Bob Moore, aye.
Lisa Petrella, aye.
John Cross, aye.
So we're in executive session.
Coming out of the twilight zone.
There we go.
Yes. Yes.
We are recording again.
Okay,
On, now that we're back in, make a. Sorry, that's one. A motion to approve BVH, Salis O'Brien as the commissioning agent under RFP 2025-005.
second.
John G. Mateo, seconds.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Any discussion on DVH Salis O'Brien as commissioning agent? Okay, let's have a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Great.
Also make a motion to approve a subcommittee, including the finance director, facilities manager, and 2 building committee members to conduct interviews for owner's project manager under RFP 2025-006 to make a recommendation back to the full building committee.
Can I have a second?
Second,
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay.
No public comment.
Number 8.
Number 8, discuss building committee dates and times. TBD.
I'm sorry, point of order, Lee. In that second motion, should we be identifying the 2 companies or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So item 8, discuss building committee dates and times. Way back when we all joined this a couple years ago, the committee met relatively infrequently. So it wasn't much of a heavy lift. I think they met a couple times a year. And since then, obviously, we're meeting monthly. We thought it was a good idea, new administration, to determine what we actually wanted for dates and times. We have a couple committee members that, it's not optimal for, but I wanted to get a feel from everybody else. If Wednesday works, is 5 o'clock good? Which week of the month makes the most sense?
I know Greg told me the other night that the 3rd Wednesday is like the only time you probably can't make that time, so.
Yeah, I
That was an issue for me.
I like Wednesdays, but is there something that works better for the Board of Education? When are your meetings? Does it make sense to have us before or after something?
I would avoid the week of our regular meetings only because our building committee meetings tend to run over. And if they run into the 6 o'clock meetings, then
And what week is that?
second.
Second, so first, third, or fourth Wednesday.
We just set a date for our next meeting to review, didn't we?
4th is.
We said the October 8th, that's the full
Oh,
board.
that's the board meeting.
Yeah.
We
And
need
you
to-
also want to avoid unless we're gonna change policies at 4 on the opposite and student achievement. But we could still do 5 o'clock on subcommittee weeks.
So student achievement is the 3rd week, but that's 4:30. That's when that one starts. And then policy is the first Wednesday, right? No,
Uh,
Today.
third
third
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So then student achievement is the fourth.
Student achievement is the fourth, yeah.
So for first and
So we're
fourth, it
actually
sounds like.
student achievements. The student achievement starts at 4:30, so. Four. I don't know.
So I would recommend the first or third
Okay,
Wednesday.
in terms
We
of,
may be doing it every, you know, on a bi-weekly basis as we get closer to our.
Well, that's what we were thinking, and then
do a first and third,
first and third, and then cancel if we
Yeah.
don't
If we don't need
need
it.
one, but I
You
think
might
we're
be able
gonna
to
be
stay
having
under an
a lot
hour
of
on board
information
meetings
coming
if you're
out.
gonna do 2 meetings a month. You might be able to keep under an hour to do that on the
right? but
5
we have
o'clock first board meeting. But if we have a heavy board schedule and we're starting at 5 o'clock with building and then we're going till 10, 9:30.
I would just-
First and third.
I'm gonna be selfish here, but it's gonna be tough for me to do the building committee and then a full board meeting.
I was just gonna, yeah. So.
Well, the first and fourth, too.
What did you think?
It's gonna be hard for me to do.
Oh,
a
yeah.
full board meeting.
Yeah, can we do the first? Does that make sense? Well, I'm actually, my other question is when are invoices coming in? Because we'd like to have, you
Well,
know,
that's on a, once the construction goes, it'll be monthly basis, but we need to, are we reviewing pencil copies or you are? You're making a recommendation.
Yeah.
So we only need one meeting a month for that. But it's probably gonna have to fall after the 15th of each month, right? And so it would be better during construction, it would be the third or fourth week.
okay. I have no problem with the fourth. Seems like if we did it on the fourth, we know that everything's clear. Because trying to make the third just even, you know, invoices coming late, there's questions. I think we may be cleaner if we do it at the end of the month to get that previous month paid. Every issue will be resolved.
Achievements only meet like 4
And
times.
honestly, the first week is the only week that the board doesn't have a Wednesday meeting. And so adding any members that are on building would then have every single Wednesday of the month having either a subcommittee or the regular meeting.
So, yeah,
Yeah, like November, December, are both
Yeah, we
day
might
before
do that.
Thanksgiving, day before Christmas,
The first week,
first or third.
the
I
third,
mean, fourth week.
oh, the fourth, yeah.
So,
Yeah, New Year's Eve is,
And then,
so what would the board's recommendation be in terms of minimizing conflict?
that's technically the 5th in November. It's the first Wednesday in,
now since of course we're talking about the fourth.
right? It's because it starts December 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th, and 31st is New Year's Eve.
If it were me, I would book every first and third Wednesday and then cancel if you don't need a meeting.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
I kind of like that.
With preferencing a Wednesday and not the first week if we could.
Saying,
That's the first week.
okay, trying to do it on the third if necessary.
Yeah, it's because it's the only week that the board doesn't have.
What's on?
And we also have more committees that we're adding,
Yeah,
so.
not
I
gonna
don't know what
have
else.
more
Really adding.
Oh, yeah,
You could call it the first, it's still the first week.
yeah.
If it's important, like, if we're approving the invoices, he can, look at it ahead of time anyway. So,
Lucy's throwing things, yeah.
Throwing things around.
What is the conflict on first? Oh, there is no.
Just do one day off,
Okay, gotcha. So you'd rather have
keep it day off.
two meetings on the third Wednesday?
well, the only other meeting we have on the third Wednesday is policy, and that doesn't have to meet every
Okay,
month. I
gotcha.
mean, we can,
We've been
We
meeting
have
every
a
month
little
because we
agenda.
revamped the entire
Okay.
policy set, but.
Okay,
Right.
this gives us
We
some
didn't get that
flexibility, so first and third Wednesdays,
well,
and then canceling as needed.
5 PM here.
Yeah.
Correct. We'll get them on the calendar.
Okay.
So what are we looking at, first and third?
So in our effort to reduce meetings, we double.
Well, once you get through the state and we get into the construction phase, then you can go to once a month.
Then-
Yeah, I actually kind of think we need bi-weeklies for the next couple of months
Great.
anyway, just to stay on top of
yeah, we're
it.
getting close,
Yeah.
between now and December.
Well, we want to stay on our timeline, yeah, so.
Send me one.
Bi-monthly, bi-weekly or a few days a week.
Okay, great. We don't need to make a motion or anything on that, do we?
I don't think so.
Great. Public comment, there's no members of the public in
Nope.
here, anybody online?
Nobody's online.
Okay.
Adjourn.
All in favor?
Say aye.
Thank you.
I-
You want,
Yeah, I'm gonna take all the stuff back, please. Yes, I'll get it. That's not it.